How's it going, everyone? Welcome to our very first episode of Glimpse into Infinity. This is a project me and my friend JC are working on let me introduce ourselves first. My name's Steven,
I'm JC.
and Glimpse into Infinity is basically about talking about topics, but taking it to one step further. We're going to discussing a range of topics, with today being college life and what it entails as to how college life is for us and how people expect it to be. So I think I should give a brief introduction about myself, just to give some
Context,
some
background.
context. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. I was struggling right there. So let's give some background as to who I am and why that matters to the conversation. I'm a fourth year mechanical engineering student, and I think that's brief enough. On campus, I'm part of some clubs, but yeah, I think that's more than enough context for right now. If you want to give a brief introduction about yourself.
Yeah, I guess for me, I'm in the same position as Steven. I am a college student, just like him. So yeah, we decided to this topic since we're closely related to it. We feel like we can have a lot to bring to the table, and yeah, it will be a good first topic. We have different points of view, different majors. We do different things around campus, so it'll be a interesting conversation.
Yeah, for sure. I'll start it off then.
All right, I guess. How are you doing in college, though?
In college, I'm doing good. We're part of the same club, so we mostly keep in touch from time to time. That's how we got this whole thing started. But more so, my college life so far, it's been kind of hard adjusting from how college life was like during COVID, because classes were online. But now, since we're back in person, it's kind of different, and not as easy. Because during college, it was most of these classes were it was easy to not pay attention. It was hard to focus, but now that you're in class, it's easier to focus, but it also makes the class a bit more difficult because you don't have that what's it called? That ease of being able to be at home, just not to be since I'm a commuter, it's difficult to wake up earlier to get to class on time. But during COVID, online classes, all these classes were online. You could just wake up, get out of bed, hop in class, and that's it. And most of the time, personally, I would not take any notes. Yeah.
But do you actually hop into class though? Or
Yeah.
You just watch the recording after class was over?
I mean, if the class was recorded, I wouldn't bother. I'm being straight up, being honest. If the professor was like, "Oh, guys, I'm recording this class," I would instantly mute the class and just do what I was doing before.
Go play some video games or
No,
something.
it's not always video games. Most of the time it was. I'm not gonna lie. It was most of the time it was video games, but not all the time. Sometimes I had actual work to do, but most of the time it was video games.
No, yeah, I guess a lot of people can relate to that. During COVID, no one attended classes. It will be the professor just talking to blank screens in there. No one will have their cameras on. So a lot of people actually did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is. Why watch the lectures when you can binge watch them before a test? Watch 5, 6, 11 lectures. It's not like the knowledge. For most cases, it's not like the knowledge matters after college. When you go out into a field and get a job, they won't ask you for the derivative of sine at. So most students are like, do I really need this in my life? I'm just here to get a passing grade and move on.
Yeah, actually, speaking about that, during my differential equations class I took back when we were in person, the semester before COVID hit and we were online that fall, when we were sophomores, I took a class on differential equations, and the professor asked us the question, why this class is important for your future. And everyone stayed quiet. No one knew what to say, because in reality, is this class important? And then he's like, I'm gonna be straight up with you guys. This class is not gonna help you whatsoever in your future careers as engineers or whatever you're pursuing. However, this class teaches you a different way of thinking, and that's why he said the class is important. He says it teaches you a way of thinking that correctly, that can help you problem solve and analyze the questions that they ask. Because differential equations was kind of like that class where it focused on solving questions that weren't necessarily math problems as we've seen before. They're mostly different, going from eigenvalues and all that stuff.
Yeah. No, I remember taking differential equations, and it was an interesting class.
Mm-hmm.
But can you really say that about all classes, though? Because there's some classes out there
Yeah.
that you can just get by with an A by just memorizing the formulas and using the formula sheets, plugging in the numbers, and getting the A on the test.
Yeah, that's how it was for statistics that I took. Like the whole class was just, he would give you the notes on what he was going to talk about in class, and it just had equations
Yeah, exactly.
and examples of problems, and that's
Yeah.
all you had to remember for the pass the
Exactly.
exam.
That's how it is.
That is how it is. But that's why I was gonna want to pose a question on what college actually teaches you, because most of these classes, you're right, you're exactly right. Most of these classes, you just remember these equations and you'll be fine for the exam. Remember these definitions and you're set.
Yeah.
So what do you think college forces you to learn?
Someone once told me, I forgot who it was to be honest, but
Mhm.
someone once told me that you don't come to college to learn necessarily. You
Mm.
come to college to learn how to learn. Because when you go out to the field, you get a job. They won't necessarily be teaching you what to do. They will be teaching you what to do,
Mhm.
but it's not like you're gonna be there. Like they're not gonna give you a test. You're not gonna have that pressure of like, oh, I must learn this.
Mm.
So in college, that's what you do. You gotta learn how to take that information, how to process it, and how to apply it later on. Because to be honest, when you go out to a job, which is what most college students do
Mm.
after college, they go and get jobs.
Mhm.
If you're not able to process the information and apply it successfully within a time period, then they will just get someone else who can do it.
Mm.
And that's why, to be honest, most college careers, after they graduate, you don't really need what you learn in college. Everything that you're going to be doing at the job, you learn in there at the
Mm.
place. So
So if most of what we learn isn't necessarily relevant to our careers, then why do people hold such an emphasis during college on their GPA? Why is grades so important?
I guess it's because since we're little,
Mm-hmm.
we've been taught that our value has a number.
Mm.
So since, I guess first grade, you start getting grades.
Mm.
If you do good, if you study, do your homework, you'll get a grade.
Mm.
And then what happens to the kids that have the best grades? They get a star on the wall. What happens to the kids that get the bad grades? They don't get a star. So we already start implementing this ranking system, these hierarchies on the kids' minds. That if I have a higher number, I have more stars, and people are gonna look at me good. Teachers are gonna smile at me more. My friends I get more friends
Mhm.
because they know I'm smart. They know I have a lot of stars, And it creates this system already since we're kids, and throughout the years, it just keeps getting stronger. You get to middle school, more grades, more tests. Now you get standardized tests.
Mm.
Now they ranking you, or they're comparing you in a statewide and nationwide scale. It's like, oh, you're 97th percentile.
Mm.
You're this good. You're this bad. So we're constantly as kids being fed this ranking, this number. And numbers are important. Numbers are important.
Mhm.
Then you get to high school. You have this GPA.
Yeah.
And since you get there, it's like you need a high GPA to get into a good college. So that's when I guess the emphasis on GPA matters the most.
Mm.
When you're in middle school, it's mostly about individual grades.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
But then when you get to high school, it's mostly about GPA.
Mm.
And then in college, GPA is like the ultimate god,
Yeah. It's the be all end all.
Yeah, it's the ultimate god. Higher GPA, you can get a better job, And that's what it is, just a ranking system we've been putting into the kids' heads since we're little.
Mm. It's crazy that you mentioned that, because we even use the standardized testing grades as the first thing the colleges look at is your SAT scores.
Yeah.
We place such an emphasis. You're right, since we're little, on all this stuff, on being the best. Do you think that attributes to why students, after they grow up from kindergarten, first grade, they stop getting those stars? Do you think that's why people become teachers' pets? Because I see that even now in some of my classes. Like a good friend of mine, Justin, he's always talking to the professor, always raising a hand, always giving not even feedback. He's just restating what the professor's saying, and he's not adding anything to the class. He's just wasting time.
Yeah.
So like, why do you think that is? Like, do you think that goes back to wanting that validation from your teachers and fellow students, or just a sense like of belonging?
I guess with people like that,
Mhm.
they might not have been like the top people in their class,
Yeah.
but neither the bottom people. So they were riding that fine line where they need a little something extra in order to compare it to the top people. So like let's say there is a kid named Carlos with 5 stars in the wall,
Mm-hmm.
the top kid in the class, and then there's another kid with 4 stars on the wall. Carlos doesn't need to talk to a teacher. He doesn't need to always be asking questions because he knows he's the best. He knows those stars demonstrated. He doesn't need to prove to anyone that he's the best. Now, the other kid with 4 stars, he might need a little something, a little kick, to prove to a teacher that he's a Carlos's level, so he can get the same. I wouldn't say direct recognition from the teacher, but at least be the same on the teacher's eyes as Carlos. So I feel like those kids, like I said, were right in the middle, and they did that. They talked to the teachers a lot, always answering questions, always doing this and that, just to get that one up, because they couldn't get it with their scores, with their grades.
Do you think that would increase their IQ overall, or decrease it if they were told since they're little that they're just naturally talented, they're just a genius, quote unquote?
Well, I actually read about tests that did an experiment with that.
Yeah.
They had a bunch of kids. There was a control group, just a group of kids that were told nothing. A group of kids that were told they were really smart, really special, and then a group of kids where they told them, "You're not smart,
but you're hardworking."
Basically, yeah, you need to be hardworking.
Yeah, I think I saw it too.
And then they test them. They test all of them. And the kids that were told really smart, whenever they would come across a difficult question, they would just give up, not try. They were like, "I don't know this, can't answer it." And then they ended up performing worse than the kids that were told, "You need to work hard in order to get a good grade." Because those kids would just keep trying and answering the questions, and at the end, that group got higher scores.
Yeah. And do you think look, after that experiment, right?
Yeah.
The hardworking kids obviously show that being hardworking is better than being college genius. So then my question to you would be, why do people, besides being getting those stars and those what you mentioned earlier, my question to you would be why people get so stressed over grades. Like besides that what you mentioned before, like because I've seen it a lot, in my classes. I've seen people go into extreme lengths. Like we even saw it during one of the programs before entering college. It teaches you, basically shows you what college is going to be like by having extra professors giving you work, and we had it right after high school. And afterwards, we even saw one of the kids have caffeine pills just to stay awake because the schedule was so rigorous. Yeah. You would have like 2 hours to study and then an hour to do homework, and you had to wake up 6 a.m. the next day. So why do people go to so extreme lengths? Like why is the grade so important?
Well, like I said, like that grade basically determines their worth as a student. So if you have like a 4.0 GPA,
yeah,
obviously you're like the perfect student. You got A's on everything. There was no error in you. You're the perfect.
Yeah.
You're the top, and you don't need to prove it to anyone. If someone asks you, "Hey, how's college?" and you tell them, "I have a 4.0," they already know how's college. They already know you're the best one at everything. You get hundreds on everything, A+s on everything.
Yeah.
You spend all your time studying. But if you tell someone, "Oh, I have a 2.0," they might take it as, "Oh, this kid doesn't try, he doesn't study, or he does his party." And this might not be necessarily true, but that's how society is.
Yeah.
Society is based on numbers. And then after you get out of college, what's the next number that people grade you on? Money.
Yeah.
The more things you have, the more expensive things, the more money you have, the better you are in some people's eyes,
Yeah.
That means you have the best job or you have the best business, and people just rank you based on that. I guess when it comes to money, more than GPA,
Yeah.
the more money you have, the more people you attract. When it comes to GPA, you won't really attract that many people,
Yeah.
but you will attract recognition,
Yeah.
all the awards, all the scholarships, all the good jobs, and okay, that's what keeps people going,
Like that validation.
Yeah, I haven't met anyone with a 4.0 GPA that haven't told me they had a 4.0 GPA.
Yeah, they always. You're right. They always use it like a title. Like that's dumb. Like that's me.
Exactly.
I'm 4.0 GPA.
Yeah,
kid,
exactly. Everyone I met that has a 4.0 GPA, they've told me.
Yeah.
They say, "Yeah, I have a 4.0."
And it's interesting that people even say this to begin with, because when you interview with these recruiters, they always ask you, "What do you do outside of classes?"
Yeah.
And if you have that 4.0 GPA, what are you gonna say?
Exactly,
I study.
Yeah. I guess it's becoming more common now.
Yeah.
More common knowledge that recruiters are looking for 4.0 GPAs.
Yeah.
Because they know all you did was study and dedicate all your time to one thing. It's becoming more knowledgeable, but kids, I guess, some kids prefer that validation and that recognition.
Yeah.
Apart from the job now, because they also believe that if they graduate with that 4.0, they'll be the perfect student and then they'll be the perfect employee.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
but most of the time that's not the case.
You think those kids without the 4.0 GPA, because I've seen the opposite of that. People with low GPAs struggling, but they struggle in a way where they dig themselves into a deeper hole. Like when they're bad at math, yet they take 2 math classes at the same time. Like, why do you think students do that to themselves? Well, they don't prioritize their GPA, but they do the opposite. They stress themselves out on purpose based on the classes they take, based on the schedule, and look at things very negatively, very pessimistic.
Yeah. Well, can you explain that again? Because you were mentioning how
Yeah, sure. So,
how they take 2 math classes, for example,
Yeah.
but then they look at things very negatively.
because like they look at 2 math classes, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you're really bad at math. You take 2 math classes, right? I know this is an example I have. I'm not gonna mention their name, but they mentioned that they're taking 2 math classes. It was very difficult for them, and they had to drop one of them. And for the other math class, they started complaining that the professor wasn't good enough. But I had that same professor, and he was good.
Yeah.
It was just you have to teach yourself on the homework. It was just adjusting. Like, basically what I'm aiming at is, why do people want to be spoon-fed the information on the exams?
Well, I guess my point of view is not really they want to be spoon-fed.
Yeah.
But going back to the taking 2 math classes,
Mm-hmm.
I guess you can relate it with people that gamble.
Mm.
If you go to a casino
Yeah.
and you lose like $100, most likely the next gamble you do
Mhm.
is higher. Because
Mhm.
it's like, I'm gonna prove that I actually know what I'm doing, or I'm gonna make all my money back. And it's kind of the same thing. When you fail something,
Yeah.
you want to try harder the next time to prove that was a mistake, and that failure
Mm.
previously meant nothing to you. And I guess it's the same thing. If you fail a math class,
Yeah.
the next time you're probably gonna say, I'm gonna give it my 200%, and I'm gonna take 2 math classes now. So it's like people sometimes plan themselves with their capacity,
Mm.
and I guess I wouldn't say they get filled with ego, but they get filled with this unrealistic expectations. Like, just because I try harder,
Yeah.
they think that just because they try harder, it automatically means that they will get better results, and that's not necessarily the case. Because I guess with math specifically, math is not everyone's stronghold, and if you use bad at math, if you just can't comprehend like how it connects to each other, how the numbers work,
Yeah.
no matter how much you study, no matter how much practice problems you do, a professor can throw a curveball in the test, which is what most professors do, and you
Yeah,
just
exactly.
thrown out and then get a bad grade. And I think that's where it comes from. They just try to fill this unrealistic expectations out, and believe that if they just put more time into it, try harder, they will get better results. Just with gambling, if they think that if they put more money,
Yeah.
they will just get more returns at the end. Well, sometimes they just lose all their money.
That is true. And let's look at the opposite side. If we see, like, besides looking at the kids that just study or don't study, or besides looking at the kids that study and prioritize aiming for the top, they don't really aim for the top. They set the, like what you said, limitations on themselves, and they want to exceed that, right? Why do you think people do the opposite and don't focus on classes and end up being like what you call, a party animal? Like, why do we? I mean, look at frats. Why do people prioritize frats over studying?
Well, I wouldn't say. I'm not saying like joining a frat is bad. It is a great like opportunity. You get to meet people, and you become really close with those people in the frats.
Yeah.
Like they'll become your brothers or sisters, basically forever. Like I seen frats, they still like post like their brothers' weddings, like 10 years, 20 years after their brother
Wow.
like finished.
That's crazy.
Exactly. So they still have those connections. Like 20 years down the road, you can come back to the frat, and like they will treat you just as they knew you the whole time. Frats really have that strong connections, and sororities as well. So I don't think it's a bad thing joining one.
Yeah.
But I do think and even if you're not in a frat, the people that just don't prioritize schools, it's just that school was not the priority in the first place. I guess me and you, we do prioritize schools at some level, but some kids they either been pressured by their parents or their family the whole time to go to college, when in reality they never really want to go, or they just join college for that sole purpose of just meeting new people and partying all the time. Because come on, you're in college, you party. That's
That's how it goes.
that's how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not school is not everyone's mind. Even though they're in school, it's not everyone's priority. Also, some people just don't see school as a priority. They just think that's secondary in their life.
You think? Let me give you one example. I'm pretty sure you know this person I'm referring to, but there's this one person that went to college basically for free, and you would think that after seeing how much the costs are, for the college we're attending, you would try harder, but instead you see the opposite. you see, instead of trying harder based on basically going for free, given this amazing opportunity, they don't take advantage of it. They let it slip by, and they do the opposite. They don't go to class. They don't pay attention because they know next semester is gonna be free too. Do you think it's bad? Do you think that's one example why being spoon-fed is a bad thing, because you don't take advantage of the opportunities you're giving?
Yeah, I guess at some level it is, because if you were always given like the opportunities, everything like gave to you,
Mm-hmm.
you become blinded. You blind yourself, and
Yeah.
you don't realize the worth or the value of what you're being given. You know, if like since you were born, you were given like diamond necklaces. Like you can have like this guy that came from dirt and like spent 3 years, 4 years working to give you a diamond necklace. You just treat it as nothing, because you see that every day. You just surround yourself with that thing. You know, compared to someone that never had one, they will see as one of the most valuable things in their lives. But so yeah, I guess people do blind themselves.
Yeah.
They get things for free, but there's also people that don't do that. It's
Really?
the opposite. Yeah.
Oh.
People that I guess that came from a background where they experienced like inequality, where they experience just not being given everything, and they get these opportunities. They make the most out of it. And I've seen it happen, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see it happen all the time.
Yeah, for
Kids
sure.
that came, I guess, from the dirt or
From
from the
nothing.
mud.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they get these opportunities and they make the most out of it.
It's crazy that people don't make the most out of it. You know, this is super important for your future. You know.
Yeah, it is.
I see-
But then, whose fault would that be? Is it really like the kids' fault, or would it be like the system's fault for providing these kids with like?
No, it's definitely the kids' fault.
It's definitely the kids' fault.
Well, I think that the system should also explain to them why it's so important. Because, like, at the same time, after, like, this is personal experience, but after hearing the same anecdotes and the same sayings from your parents 24/7, you start to ignore it.
Yeah.
You know, growing up, you know, you really listen to your parents' advice. But when it becomes repetitive and it become counterintuitive, then you just start ignoring them. And I feel like even like if your parent, like if I was in that situation, my parents kept telling me, make sure you pay attention, make sure you pay attention. And I'll be like, oh my God, they're so annoying. And I'll just stop. Like do the opposite, you know, and then blame other people instead of me. That's how it goes. So I think that people should really, at the same time, they should be driven. Like if you don't have a goal, then why are you going to the college in the first place? Because a lot of people just go to college to go to college, you know. Well, everyone asks you, oh, what college are you going to when you're a senior? And you're like, you haven't even thought about going to college, you know. You don't know what you're going to do. And they're like, where are you going to go? You don't even know, you know.
Well, I guess that's not necessarily bad at all.
Yeah.
Completely, because in some cases, like I met people from high school that they just didn't know what to do with their lives.
Yeah.
They were like, shit, I don't know what I want to do. So I guess if those kids are presented with the opportunity of just going to college for free,
Yeah.
I guess it is a good thing if they take it. Like if they wouldn't have taken it, who knows what else they would have been doing.
Yeah, it's
but
crazy.
most likely nothing, because they didn't have anything in mind. So I guess for those kids that don't really have a plan, going to college and just getting your degree can be worthwhile, because you didn't know what you want, but now you have this degree. You can either, if you get into it along the way, you can just pursue that career, or if you don't, then you can start looking for other things.
So would you say like you shouldn't switch majors? You should just stick it out if you're almost done? Like let's say you're a junior, right? Or you're a senior. You graduate next, or you're junior or senior. Let's say junior.
Yeah.
You graduate next year, but you don't like what you're doing at all. Like you're applying for these internships, and you're looking at the description. You're like, this is not what I want to do. Do you switch, or do you just bang out that last year and get the degree?
Well, it will be hard not finding anything directly related to what you're getting your major at, or indirectly related. Because I know, like let's say engineers, for example.
Yeah.
For example, you can graduate as an engineer, but just you having the title of engineer classifies you as dedicated and smart person that can solve complicated problems. That means you can get a job at any field that applies those things. So as an engineer, you can go to a sales position, get a sales job. You can go to a marketing and get it, since you took a bunch of math classes as engineers.
Yeah.
You can go to IT. You can go to computer repairs. You can go to, so you know, so like out of engineering, so many things branch out from the classes you took and from the things you learned while doing that major. I think it's nearly impossible to find something
That you're not interested in?
in related to it, or indirectly related to it, you know.
I feel like most of the time, because like when you look at the descriptions for the job, like you're completely right. There's so many fields you could branch out to within engineering, but when you look at the descriptions for some of these jobs, they're all like cubicle office jobs. Like you say problem solve, but you don't really problem solve in sales, you know. And I mean that's just one example, but people really don't know like what they want to do. Do you think it's bad that people join college just to get a degree?
No, like I said, I don't think it's bad at all.
Like what if it's not a STEM major or STEM career?
I still don't think it's really bad at all because,
Yeah.
well, I guess I would have to disagree if it's because I'm thinking about a majors that are, I guess, worthwhile and that would end up giving you a really good advantage in life as you graduate. You know, so we know those majors,
Yeah.
engineering, anything tech related.
The STEM field, right?
Yeah, STEM field.
Yeah.
And also the medicines, you know, nurses, nurse protection, registered nurse, doctor's assistants, all that stuff. I guess fields like this are worthwhile if you weren't thinking of doing anything else. Like if
Okay.
you're good at like biology, if you're good at anatomy, like memorizing things, and you really didn't know what the hell you wanted to do, why not go become a registered nurse? You might like it, you might not. If you don't like it, then you know you'll have to reanalyze the situation that you're standing in. But if you like it or you at least don't dislike it, and you don't really have anything else to do, might as well finish it. If you don't dislike it, you have that degree secured already.
Yeah.
And if you do learn about something that you want to do after it's done, you can get a job as soon as you get out, make some money, and then you'll be at a good starting point to do whatever else you want to.
Yeah. A lot of times I see people really excited as a freshman because I want to get to this topic. You know, a lot of times when you're a freshman, you get really excited. You're going to college. You know, it's a big step. You're not in high school anymore. You're not. You're leading further into your adult life. You become more of an adult, more mature. So as you progress through college, you're like so excited. But then once you get to junior, or this is my case, right? Once you get to junior year, you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to keep doing this, right?
Yeah.
And then I realized that the same thing applies to your full times. Like when you graduate, you get a job. The same thing applies. You get a job, you go in there, you're excited, but over time, you just get like you're just not interested in it anymore. It's kind of why do you think that we keep going through this pattern of like? Do you think we hold like high expectations, or at least do you think I do, for these full times or the college life? Because they don't really teach, like for example, the college life doesn't teach you how to learn. That's not what I expected. I think it's because I had those high expectations. So, do you think that people also do this, or do you think this is kind of like just me?
I think people just have high expectations of life in general. Because if you look at life is really depressing. There's strategy
Jesus.
everywhere. No, yeah, that's true. The world is a cruel place.
It is cruel though.
Yeah, and like when you come out of high school, you have all this. Like you think, you look at the world like full of colors. You think, yeah, I want to be an engineer. I'm gonna just graduate, make 6 figures, easy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna graduate, get a job at Facebook, Google. You know, these top companies. That's what most people that go into engineering think. They're like, yeah, engineering, 6 figures, why not?
Yeah.
You know, and then they start realizing they're like, damn, Calc 2, my first test, I got a 30. They're like, damn, I went to 3 career fairs, got nothing. They were not interested in me. And you start realizing that the world is really bad. And I think the main reason for that, it's too competitive. There's always going to be someone better than you.
Yeah,
at
for
what
sure.
you do, yeah. And if you don't do anything, that means everyone is better than you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So something's better than nothing.
Something's
right?
better than nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you know, let's say some CAD, computer aided design, you're already better than those that don't know it. You know, if you both go talk to a recruiter and you say at least that you know what CAD is, you're already at an advantage. You know, but now you have the competition of those that are experts at CAD. You know,
Yeah, and you have to compete with them.
you gotta compete with them.
Yeah.
So it's always a competition, and I think just by being the best that you can be, can do wonders. You know,
Because like that pressure of being the best can also get to you. You know.
it can get to you. Yeah, but you
Stressful.
can't let it consume you though.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because also people are unrealistic when it comes to their worth. Like some people really think that they're like, I guess I don't want to say the word worth. Like people think that they're worth a lot, that their time is worth a lot, that their presence or is worth a lot.
Yeah.
So they go on looking for these jobs with really high standards, and it's like, man, like your qualifications are shit. You don't know how to do anything. You're no help for me, so why should I hire you?
Yeah.
And then they start realizing this, and then there's either those that it brings their self-esteem down, or it's those that are like, okay, I gotta make myself worth more. I gotta increase my skills, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel like there's also a difference. A difference happens in there.
Yeah, it's crazy too when you look at like what recruiters are asking for, because like a lot of times you read the job description and you're perfectly qualified, but once you get into that interview, it's not just like what we talk technical skills, you know, it's also soft skills.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
if you can't even have a conversation with this recruiter,
Exactly.
and you're at the expert level of the CAD, let's say, it's over.
If you can't talk, it's
Yeah.
over. If you can't articulate your words, if you can't talk,
Yeah.
it's over. Then we just drop you, you know.
Hmm.
Because that's also really important, I guess, in a lot of jobs. You that work with teams.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
need to be able to communicate. You need to be able to get your ideas across the table clearly. If not, the whole team crumbles, and then the whole organization crumbles. You know, it becomes a chain effect.
Yeah, it's like a domino effect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To be a strong team, everyone needs to be strong. You know, there can be some like a weak side, and the rest can dedicate their time to helping that weak side.
Yeah.
But you know, at the same time, they are dedicating their time that they could have applied to their ultimate goal.
And it's crazy that you mentioned that, because a lot of times people don't even have goals, you know. Like, why do you think that is? Like, why do you think people just let time pass with them? Like, you ask these people, like, what they're doing, and they don't say nothing. Because, like, I think it's a bad question to ask where you see yourself from 5 years from now. 'Cause you have no clue.
Yeah,
You know, your interests change every year. You know
That
what you
is
want
true.
every 5 years. I think it's important to ask yourself what you're doing right now, you know. But, like, you ask people these questions, and they say nothing. They say they're watching Netflix, they're studying. They say they're studying, but they're not. You know.
But they don't even say like I'm watching Netflix.
Yeah.
That's not something you say like. What you doing with your life?
Yeah.
I'm just watching Netflix. You know.
Yeah, but like
that's not something you say. Like
yeah,
if
it's not-
they go
you're
to
right, you're
college,
right.
they will say, "Yeah, I'm just going to college."
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what exactly are you doing at college?
And then that's
And they say, "Yeah, I just go to my classes, go back home, and sleep and watch Netflix." You go.
That's when they say that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm guessing people don't really have goals because they think like I said, they have these false expectations. You know. I know it happens a lot, and I know you experienced it.
Yeah.
Where people they think they graduate, and just because they have the degree, that just means like they can get a job.
Yeah.
And I know you met people where like 2-3 years down the road still have no job
Yeah.
after graduating with an engineering degree. You know, because it's not only the engineering degree that matters; it's your experiences related to the field. You know, so it's just I guess false expectations.
Exactly.
But the thing is, these people know these expectations. They know because as soon as you come into college, they tell you. They tell you, hey, you need to get experience. You need to join clubs, this and that.
Yeah.
They tell you this at like the convocations, at the what's it
The
called?
freshman seminars?
Yeah, the freshman seminars.
Yeah.
That's why they have these classes for us, and they tell you.
But some people just goes in one ear out the other.
Yeah,
you know?
they think like people think like it wouldn't apply to them.
Mm.
You know, the same thing comes with like when like with just life things, you know, like people die all the time.
Yeah.
But then they don't think like people don't think that will happen to their family members, you know.
Mm.
People get like deadly diseases. Nah, that won't happen to me. With COVID. COVID
Yeah.
is a perfect example.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get COVID. Like they think
Mm.
nothing applies to them, and then they get COVID, and then they realize they're like, damn, I'm not immune. Damn, I'm not this.
Yeah.
You see,
Mm.
it just comes to false expectations. You know,
It goes
you
full
just gotta be
circle.
realistic.
Yeah.
You are where you stand, and not only where you stand with yourself,
Mm.
like in your point of life, but also where you stand compared to others. Because if you just focus on who you are, and you let's say you're at the point you want to be,
Yeah.
maybe the point where you want to be means nothing compared to the points that everyone else is around.
Mm.
That everyone else around you is at.
So you're saying like it's not.
Yourself to yourself.
Mm.
Like you can say, yeah, I think I'm good in this class. I think I'm good in college overall. But then if you look at like your peers and the people that you gotta compete with, you're probably not good, and you're probably like at the bottom.
Mm.
And then like, yes, you can be good with yourself. Yes, you can be happy with yourself. But then at the end of the day, for things that truly matter in life, like money, one of them, money controls everything. It becomes a challenge because compared to others, you're gonna get less job offers, and a higher chance of not getting a job at all.
Yeah.
You see, so it's just expectations, and you just gotta be realistic where you stand, not only to yourself, compared to yourself, but compared to others.
And a lot of these times you see people being very driven by themselves, but at the same time, it's not all about you, you know? I think another aspect that's important in college that they don't really talk about in these freshman seminars is networking. You don't hear it. You hear join these clubs, you know, it's good to put on your resume. Do this because it's good for you, you know? But networking is the best thing for you, but they never mention it, you know? Networking, personal example is networking for me has gotten me access to textbooks I would otherwise have to pay for.
Oh yeah, like in classes.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Or friends that I would never thought that would introduce me to more opportunities. You know, maybe down the line I get a full time because a friend referred me. You know, that networking is so crucial. And that's why I think people should never burn down bridges, especially on their way out. You know, like if you're graduating, so you try to keep those bridges because you never know what it'll be in the future.
Yeah. I think that's also important because, you know, it also broadens your perspective on the world. You know, like, let's say you didn't think like getting an A in Calc 2, one of the hardest math classes, supposedly. If you didn't think getting an A was possible, and then you meet people that say, yeah, I got an A, or yeah, I got a couple A's, here's how I did it, this and that. Now you know it's possible. Now you know that person did it, and you be like, let me just do what he did. You talk to them, you meet with them, and they explain to you, I did this, this, and that, and you're like, oh shit, it is possible, you know? And it broadens your scope. You just get a broader view of the world around you, and then you can have more options that way.
Exactly. A lot of times people come into freshman year with that tunnel vision. You know, they're just like, at the end of the tunnel is just graduating, getting that full time. They don't look around them. I know a lot of kids just on campus, they just, like, you look at them, they don't even look around, they just straight.
Yeah, and then they come to class and then just drive back home as soon as they leave. Exactly. Then at the end, they get their degree, but they don't get anything else.
They haven't met anyone.
Haven't met anyone, you know, no friends to I guess, celebrate after.
Yeah.
No job. Then they graduate, still can't get no job because they don't know how to get a job. They don't know how to interview, they don't know how to talk to the recruiters, you know. They don't know how to make new friends because they never did in college.
Exactly.
So they don't know how to go and talk to an unknown person and meet them. Because that's also a big difference between college and high school.
Yeah.
In high school, you were forced to be with the same people over and over.
Yeah, okay.
And I think that's the reason why people stop being friends after high school. Because that forcefulness of being with them, that's what kept you connected. And that's what made you the so-called friends. And then after college, you realize, hey man, I don't really want to hang out with that person. I don't really want to talk to them. They're not really the type of people I like to be around. You know, I'm not really like them at all. Why should I keep talking to them? I'm not forced to being with them. You know, and then you burn those bridges, but they weren't really bridges to begin with. They were forced bridges. You know, that were forced upon you. And then in college, now you can choose who your friends are. You can choose who you want to be around, who you surround yourself with, and. But a lot of people also don't do that. They just come in and leave.
That's crazy. When you look at people who do that, though, like, I know one person that's graduating soon. No clubs. They have friends, you know, because of the program we went to before college started.
Yeah, so they were forced to be there.
Exactly. Yeah. And if you look at it like this, it's crazy now you mention it because a lot of times people don't even connect with people. Even in college, you know, the friends you have in college, a lot of times those bridges are burned because when you look at your closest friends, it's always necessary to keep in contact. You know, like in high school, yes, you were forced to be in the cafeteria, you know, same friend group, lunch 1, lunch 2, lunch 3. Okay, well, I'm there. Who's there with me? Let's meet up. But when you graduate in college, like you said, I think it's crucial to keep those bridges like steady, even from high school. Let's say you had high school friends, but you don't keep in contact. I think that if you want to keep that friend, I think it's important for you to reach out to them. You know, not expect it the other way around, because you can't expect something and not give it in return. You know, like, sure, you can reach out to them, but they don't reach back to you. Be like, okay, like you get the hint. You know. So I think it's important for you to do that.
Well, I guess in order to keep a bridge, you don't necessarily have to just keep in contact with them at all times.
Yeah, I don't mean all times.
Because like me personally, I am guilty of this. I don't talk to people. I don't text people. Like, I have friends, like, sometimes they reach out to me and I just don't reply, man. It's the truth, but it be like that. But like, like to make casual conversation, I just don't reply. But I know that if they ever need me,
Mm.
I will be there for them. You know,
Yeah.
if they ever call me, if they ever need something,
Mhm.
I will be there.
Mm.
And then I also want to know that if I call them, if I ever need something,
Mm.
they know that I want to know that they're gonna be there for me.
Mm.
And I think that's what keeps friends alive. It happened to me recently. I haven't talked to my friend in like 6 months or something,
Mm.
and then he just called me yesterday. He had a problem, you know. He just wanted to talk to me,
Mm.
and I was able to be there for him, you know. And it just felt the same as how we were 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Nothing changed. The friendship was still the same.
Mm.
And I have it happen with people that I haven't talked to since high school. They reach out to me or I reach out to them. I was like, hey man, let's go eat or something.
Mm.
And it was still the same friendship as we had in high school.
Yeah, that's how you find your true friends. Sorry to cut you off, but that's how you find your
Yeah,
true
no.
friends.
Yeah, and those are, I think, in my opinion, those are the best type of friendships.
Mm.
Just if you, after, no matter what happened, no matter how long, how much time passed,
Mhm.
you're still the same. There's still that same connection,
Yeah.
that same trust. Yeah, it's completely opposite with I know people that have people that smoke.
Mm.
They always smoke with like different groups of friends,
Mm.
and then they told me like when they stopped smoking, then they lost everyone.
Mm.
Then people started stopped reaching out to him, stopped replying to like their reach,
Mm.
and just stopped interacting with them. So the only thing that kept them connecting was the smoking sessions.
Mhm.
And I guess that's just the opposite side of what you just talked about.
When you look at people that do that, right? You look at, it's insane how that applies to even after college, like after high school. You would think in high school you're only bound, like you're only bound to other people during your elementary, middle school, or high school,
Yeah.
and you think it breaks during college, but it doesn't.
It doesn't.
It's
yeah.
still there in other ways, like when you said, like let's say smoking, or let's say in a full time, and like after you graduate, it's still there too. Whether it be like you're in a cubicle, you're working with the same people all the time, and that's what's keeping you there.
Yeah. That's why like those are like your work friends. Most
Mhm.
people don't hang out with their work friends.
Yeah.
They're just friends for work. And as soon as you leave work, you don't even want to see them. The only thing keeping you together is the work.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you gotta find something else to keep you together.
Mm.
Now, if you make a friend that you hang out outside, like you go play golf or whatever with
Mhm.
them, then that becomes a different connection. And then even after you quit, you're
Mhm.
still friends with that person and stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting that people play such an importance in college, right? And especially going back to what we were talking about earlier, I wanted to bring up the story, really amazing story, interesting story to be honest, about my teacher in high school who would always hype up the college life. She's
College
like, make
life.
sure you go to parties, make sure you do this, that, this, and then I asked her, I'm like, so how much are you, like, did you have any student loans? Like, what happened? And she's still paying off her student debt now. She's still paying it off. She's like 40, late 30s. She's still paying it off. She has a whole family, husband, house, still paying it off. Yeah, she kept hyping it up. But my question to you is like from my perspective, it sounded like this was her peak. Like, do
College,
you
yeah.
think people go to college, like people see college as their peak because of that college life, because of the fraternities that they don't see in their full times?
It depends how you did in college.
Yeah.
I guess compared to your peers,
Mhm.
and then how you do in real life compared to the peers. Because really comparison, like people don't like to compare, and the people also don't like to tell others to compare themselves. But you have to compare yourself because
Mhm.
that's what basically determines your value amongst the group.
Yeah.
That's why athletes they're always reaching out to beat the highest score, the highest record.
Mm.
You gotta compare yourself. If you don't, you won't know your value around others. And we live in a society where you gotta know your value because you gotta be valuable to others in
Mm.
order so they can provide you value, you know, and vice versa, like a circle.
Yeah.
But I guess with people in high school,
Mm-hmm.
like I guess the most common example is like football stars.
Yeah.
They're always talking about the football team when they were in
Mm.
high school, and
Yeah.
even 10 years after, they're like, all they talk about is how they excel in football, how they were the top football person in high school, and that's really because right after high school,
Yeah.
everything else fell apart for them.
Mm.
They really didn't choose a path. They just, I guess, went to work. I guess a low level job, as some people will call it, you know, and low key, like compared to their peers in high school that went off to college
Mm.
or that went off to do this, to their business, that
Yeah.
went off to do that. When they compare themselves to them, they really are underperforming, and that's why they realize they excelled at high school,
Mm.
and that's why they always bring it up. The same thing happens in college.
Yeah.
You think while you're in college, people don't realize that they're gonna excel in college.
Mm.
It's after you leave college when
Exactly.
you compare yourself to the people that graduated college,
Mm-hmm.
your peers, and then they're like, damn, they all got like,
Full times or
they doing better than me. It can be either, it doesn't have to be money related. It can be
Mm.
like emotional wise, like partner wise, you know, and then and then that's what you realize. You're like, damn, I peaked at high school. I mean, I peaked at college, and after college, I got left behind.
So you think it's because they didn't have that drive to that goal to motivate them? They didn't have a goal for themselves to begin with. So then when they graduated, they kind of just like, because the goal was to get the degree, right? But now they
Yeah.
had the degree. It's like, what now? You know?
Mm.
I feel like a lot of times people are like what you said earlier with that football example. They like a lot of times people are stuck in the past because they never made more goals for themselves. They kind of like their life just stopped there.
Yeah. It's because I think you can get caught up in the moment. Like
Yeah.
if you're the star of the football team,
Mm-hmm.
you never think that's gonna end. All the fame and all the glory you get from that, like everyone hyping you up, like congratulating you, you never think that's gonna end. But then one day it ends,
Mm.
and then you realize you're like, I dedicated all my time to this.
Yeah.
Now what the hell do I do now? And then you see all the people that celebrated you, congratulate you.
Mm.
They just move on and leave you behind with nothing.
Because like a lot of times, like I see, like what you said earlier with blindness, I see people. They think like things are gonna last forever, and they don't. you
And they
know?
don't, yeah.
But like I can't blame them either because like everyone thinks that in the moment.
Everyone, yeah.
Yeah. And I think like that's why they say like reality hits. You know.
Yeah.
Like life just throws those curveballs, and you're like, wait a minute, what am I doing? But I think that's like sometimes that's necessary to have that realization, so that like, moving forward, it doesn't happen. Like it'll probably happen again, but not as severe as like the first time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you can't really. That's not something you teach someone.
Exactly.
Say if you get your first girlfriend,
Mm.
you can't tell that person, "Oh, you guys probably won't last." You know, like first, like you can't really tell that to a person
Yeah.
because they're gonna be like, "Now we'll last. Everything's going good. I love her. She seems to love me.
Mhm.
This is gonna last forever. What are you talking about? What are you saying?
Yeah.
It's not gonna last." And then boom, the honeymoon phase is over, and all the fighting starts, and this, and then you realize you're like, yeah, I don't want to be with this girl forever. I want to
Yeah.
end this shit now, or vice versa.
Mm.
But then the next time, your second girlfriend, now you know, you're like, hey, this might not last forever. But I guess a question for that: does that mean people, like I guess with the girlfriend example,
Mhm.
does that make it necessary?
Like necessary to like have that suffering.
No. I guess you knowing that it won't last forever,
Yeah.
does that justify you not giving it your best at that relationship?
Mm.
Because you come in with the mentality that it won't last forever. Why should I give it my all? At the end, I would just end up like hurt or something.
I think that's just reinstating. That probably something deeper, you know, like psychologically.
Yeah.
I think that goes like a deeper level. I think that hints at something deeper. Because if you think about it like that, then why even bother having a girlfriend in the first place?
Exactly,
And then
yeah.
you dig yourself in this deeper hole, you know. But the problem was not having a girlfriend. It's you probably thinking to yourself, why this or why am I doing this?
Yeah.
You know. I think it's good to always try your best at what you're doing. So when you look back and you make mistakes, you be like, doesn't matter what mistakes I made.
I tried
my
my best,
best. You know. You can tell yourself that and not live with regret.
Exactly. The same thing goes, I guess, with like exams.
Mm.
Like you take your first exam, you study for hours,
Mm.
days, and you get a bad grade.
Yeah.
Does that really justify not trying as hard or harder for the next exam?
Mm.
Not really. You should still try harder for the next exam.
Yeah.
Even though like the first one you did try hard, gave it your all, and still got a bad grade
Mm.
because of the reason that you said.
Yeah, exactly.
Because at the end of the semester, you end up failing, gotta retake the class, and now you're like, damn, I should have tried harder. Why? Because you could. If you can try harder, then why not try harder?
Yeah, you gotta exceed your limits.
Exactly. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
People put limits on themselves too much, too frequently. That happened. Same thing happened to me actually. My first semester
Yeah.
with Calc 1.
Mhm.
I failed that first exam.
Oh,
And this
shit.
is the same student. This is the same kid that during high school was like, I'm good at math. That's why I picked engineering to begin with. I was like, okay, math, engineering, easy. It goes hand in hand. And then I go take Calc 1. I even took the Calc 1 class before college to like introduce the topics and get myself ready
So
for
you
the
got
semester.
this-
I already knew the knowledge,
Yeah.
like the limits and all that
And
stuff.
you're like, I don't need to try. I don't need to study. I
was
know
like-
this stuff.
I was like, I know this stuff
Yeah.
already. And then they threw the biggest curveball on the exam, 15-point theory questions, and I was like,
Yeah.
I got like a
They
68
got
on
you
the
there.
exam. And there's
Yeah.
no curves for math, you know, in this school.
Mhm.
And maybe it is different for other schools, but there's no curve in math, and there's no extra credit. There's no nothing. It's not high school
You need to
mentality
save
anymore.
you, yeah.
It's you gotta save yourself.
Exactly.
And that really hit me because during that whole semester, my first semester in college, I always put this high importance on getting good GPA because that's what drives you. Because you look at all these full times and they say GPA minimum
like
3.0.
we said, like GPA determines your worth compared to everything else. Yeah,
exactly. But then after my first semester, when I took Calc 2, I stopped playing such an importance on the GPA. I gave it up completely, and instead just focused on the class itself.
Exactly.
Because that would help me learn. You can't learn if you're just always worrying about your GPA. Yeah. It's like you look for shortcuts.
Yeah.
You end up looking for shortcuts. I mean,
just to get the better GPA.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like people still do that nowadays. I'm guilty of that myself.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie and say I don't find shortcuts to get a better grade in the class. Like if someone gives me a lab report, I'm using that as reference.
You can find the answers online. That's why you use it for the homework. Like, come on, man. It's guaranteed 100. Like, why would you spend hours doing the homework for not a guaranteed 100 when you just found the answers online? It's just a simple copy and paste.
I mean, that makes people lazy, though.
It does make people lazy.
Yeah.
And it makes, like I guess their goal at the end not seem like... Because when people work for their stuff and you do get, like, good benefits out of it, that's a feeling that no one else can get.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I feel that's what that goes hand in hand with like drug problems.
Yeah.
Like they get the same effect from just taking some drugs and not working hard at all, And
that's what my boy Sneeko said. Sneeko on YouTube. Sneeko.
Yeah, Sneeko.
Yeah, he explained that what you're talking about.
I think that's where I got it from. That video.
I think I told you.
Yeah, I think you did tell me.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
Now, I guess I want to bring the topic of school.
Yeah.
Right now, there's like a mentality going around that college is not worth it, and you can pursue all these other paths, and why go to college when you can start making like 6 figures today, when you can start a real estate agent flipping houses, when you can get your dropship business, when you can resell shoes, resell that. So I wanted to ask you, do you agree with that? Like, what's your point of view on that mentality that's going around?
I had the perfect example to give this. I think the right answer is to first do research on what you want to do, right? If you can accomplish this without a degree, I think go for it. But a lot of these jobs require a degree to begin with. For example, let's say I actually want to do research on becoming a therapist. I was like, can I take the test that's required for graduate students to take in order that they have to pass it, and then after they pass it, they're qualified to give one-on-one counseling. I was like, can I take that same exam, studying the same topics by myself, studying for this exam, preparing, learning the same exact things they're learning in college, just on my own, right? And you can't. You need the college.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
the
like,
same thing with IT.
Yeah.
Like you can get IT certified. Yeah. You can get all the certifications and end up with the same job as someone that went to 4 years for IT in college.
But for therapy, like the therapist in particular, you have to go to college. You can't.
There's some
do that.
like a doctor, you have to go to college.
It's like,
but then there's some things that you don't necessarily have to go to college to achieve. But I guess if your end goal is just to make money, then how about that? If your end goal is just to make money.
If your end goal is just to make money, I think if
like,
you're
I guess no matter how.
No matter how? Okay, if you're very business oriented, I think college is useless. Well, not useless. I'll never say it's useless because you can always make connections, But if you have your own business plan ready, I think that, and you have the money, go ahead and start it up. Don't go to college for it. Or better yet, go to college take some business classes, get those connections within class, and maybe you'll have a business partner within those classes that can help you move your business forward. You never know, it's a small world. And you'll meet these people eventually in the future. Regardless, you might not even know, It's sometimes that's life, it just happens. You meet people and then you start a business.
But also the thing with the business world is that it's way more competitive than the academic world. And in the business world, there's no mercy.
There is no mercy.
The competitors will destroy you.
You go bankrupt.
They'll leave you bankrupt, zero money.
Yeah.
They'll take all your customers. There's no mercy, man.
There is no mercy.
It is a harder path to take. Yeah. But also, college, I think, it's not completely worthless as people, look at it.
It's not black and white.
If you're lower class, man, and you're, really good at math, and then you have all these people telling you, don't go to college, you don't need college. You just, start flipping houses. Start doing this, start doing that. But then, and then you get caught up in that mentality. You go in, fails a business, fails this and that, boom, that failed. But if you're really good at academics, and you're lower class, and you go engineering, STEM, the health and sciences. If
Yeah.
you go in there, you come out with like 80, 90K, 100K salary coming out. That's really good, man. Coming
is-
from a lower class,
Yeah, it only
that
takes
puts
4
you
years.
from the in 4 years. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Because people also underestimate the time it takes to make a business,
Yeah.
and the time it takes to actually start making those
Money.
6 figures
Exactly.
in a business.
Probably take like 10 years.
Exactly. And to keep it up all that time, and it also takes longer. Like, you gotta dedicate more hours per day into the business than like actual academics.
Mm.
So college, I still think it's a great opportunity, depending obviously what
Yeah.
major you choose.
Not art.
I mean, that's debatable, you know. Yeah, but yeah, I guess yeah, depending on what major you choose,
Yeah.
to take you from like lower
Mm.
class to like upper middle class.
Yeah, that's definitely
Like,
true.
it's one of the fastest paths of achieving that jump, that huge jump. Like, if you grew up in the ghettos,
Yeah.
and then now you're telling me that you offer me 100,000 figure salary,
Mm-hmm.
like, man, that's pretty good.
That
In
is
just
pretty
4
good.
years, like, that's amazing.
That is amazing.
And you're starting like a 21-year-old making that much money. That
Jesus.
puts you in the top 1% of that thing.
That age?
Yeah, let me look it up and tell you exactly.
Mm.
Let's look up the top 1% for each age group.
That's wild. Cause like a lot, yeah, I don't think that college is useless either. Like I agree with
Yeah.
you on that point. A lot of people, and at the same time, I think it's also important that you should never take everyone's advice with a grain of salt. You know, even ours. I don't think anyone should listen to exactly what we're saying. You have to go to college to make these figures.
Exactly.
Like, don't like, you know yourself best at the end of the day. So, like, if you're making a big decision, like whether or not you should go to college, you shouldn't. I don't think for big decisions you should ask for advice, because I think you already know the answer.
Yeah.
And I don't want, a lot of times people, they ask for advice for big decisions like that, and then they end up regretting because it wasn't their choice. It was someone else's
Exactly.
choice.
Yeah.
You know, so go with what you want to do. So then looking back, you say, I did what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I didn't like it. And I know I don't like that.
Yeah, that's one of the worst things people can do. Like,
Yeah.
basically do what the other one says.
Mhm.
Because if you do fail, if you end up failing, all the blame goes to that person, and you're like, damn, he told me this, he told me that.
Exactly.
Like, oh, it's all his fault. Like, my life is like this because of him.
Mm-hmm.
But then also, if you do become successful, you don't have the same mentality.
Exactly.
You don't
Only
even
if you
think about
fail.
that person. You don't even think. It's like, I did all of this. This all thanks to my hard work. So made so this, you know. And it's like, it's also bad on the person that I guess
Yeah.
gave you that advice.
Mm.
But it's also bad on yourself because that can happen.
Mm.
And I do agree with you. The best thing is just decide yourself what you want to
Exactly.
do. They can give you options
Mhm.
and like
That is true.
suggestions, but then the ultimate choice should be up to you.
Mhm.
You know.
Did you find anything on the internet though?
Oh yeah, so I guess I found one for age group 27 to 31 is 170,000. And age
170,000? 21 to 30?
27 to 31.
Oh, 27 to 31?
170,000. So if you are like
Jesus.
a 21-year-old making 100K, and then like you like accumulate like a nice car, you buy a house. By the time you're 27, your net worth is gonna be probably like $500,000 if you
Mm.
play your cards right.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
you'll definitely be top 1%, unless you get married, have kids.
Then it's over.
Then it's over. All that money goes to that. But yeah, that would be pretty good. Like, you telling me like grew up in the ghetto, low income family, now making this middle higher class. It's a big jump just for 4 years.
Yeah.
That's what I guess. That's some people really don't look at college that way. You know,
Mm-hmm. They look at it like,
Yeah.
man, it's a waste of time.
it's college, man. Everyone says I can make money on this business, on this that, doing
Yeah.
this path. And it's like, yeah, you can also make money in college in just 4 years.
You can be creative with it too.
And okay, the 4 years is not like struggling 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're pretty good academic wise, it'll be a breeze. It's like you never. It's like
Yeah.
you didn't struggle. You just go to class, study a bit since you're already academically gifted.
Accustomed? Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it will be no challenge for you.
Mhm.
You can have your friends, join clubs, get a job on the side,
Yeah.
or actually pursue like a business if you're on the side.
Mhm.
You have all time for that. But if you go straight into like the business thing,
Mm.
that's merciless, bro. It's
I
merciless
feel-
on your
yeah.
time, everything.
Especially since you're 17 out of college or 18 out of college.
Yeah, exactly. It will be harder. You got no capital.
No,
You got no knowledge.
Yeah.
That means you gotta start building your knowledge, start building your capital,
Yeah.
and you go into the world with people that have like millions of dollars of
Mhm.
capital, hundreds of thousands of
Like
capital.
they're already starting
They
better.
already started with like this bigger advantage. You know, it's bad.
Yeah.
But if you go to college, get a job,
Mm-hmm.
70K, 80K, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
like work 2 to 3 years, you can make some money
Yeah, you
and then
could.
have that advantage already.
There's a lot of things that go into it, though. Because at the end of the day, is it only about the money?
Yeah,
For
that's
some
what,
people,
but
it
that's
is.
why I said like someone that's just focused on the money.
Yeah, if it's just about the money, then yeah, I think college is a good start, depending on what you go for. I know a lot of people that went for one thing and then dropped out. Like a lot of people got their psychology degree only to realize that they need a doctorate to actually do what they want to do.
Yeah.
You know, it's just more money, more
Exactly.
debt. Like I think it depends, right? Because some people could argue, right? Because I'm playing devil's advocate right now. Some people could argue that college isn't worth it because of all the loans they have to take. Like let's say, in my example, yes, I'm getting financial aid, so I'm not paying that much. But what if someone who isn't getting financial aid?
That's true.
You know, they're going to college, they're $64,000 in debt, and their major's an architect. You know, their starting salary will be $30K a year.
I don't think 30K, but yeah, it'll
Or
be
something like
like
that.
50, 60K.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
is for Arkies. But yeah, that is a good example. That's why you just gotta play your cards right.
Mm.
I know friends that straight after high school went into like construction and stuff.
Yeah.
They making good money. Probably, who knows? Probably even six figures.
Wow.
Yeah, but they do have more years than you worked. So they at the end of your college career,
Hmm.
and by like let's say you graduate in 4 years.
Yeah.
Those 4 years they're gonna have accumulated all that money. You know,
Mm.
you gotta factor that in, but then you also gotta factor out when they're 30, their back is gonna give out.
Yeah,
know?
the medical issues. There's
Exactly.
always pros and
There's
cons.
always pros and cons.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
Yeah,
Like because I think you can even see how much financial aid they're giving you before you go to college,
before
right?
you go to college. Yeah,
So you could.
you can play your
Yeah,
cards.
it wouldn't hurt to just apply.
College doesn't work for everyone.
Yeah,
But
definitely
if it
not.
works for you, man, take it. Like
Sometimes you gotta make it work. You know, you can't expect
yeah,
everything to work
exactly.
out.
Because you have no other option.
Yeah.
You know, like if you are like a low income student
Mhm.
and you are academically talented,
Exactly.
but nah, you want to start a business.
Mm.
You want to do this and that. But you can't because you broke. You got no money. You can't do that.
I mean,
So-
sometimes you don't need money to start a business, though. You can
Well,
make
it does make it
digitally.
harder, though.
It does make it harder.
It does make it way
And
harder.
It's just more work on yourself. You
Yeah.
use money to ease the work on yourself. That's a lot of times what you first spend the expenses on to make the
Exactly.
process smoother. You know, so you have more time to do the things, other things. You know, not just business, because then people can get burnt out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But man, if you are talented, and since you're lower income, you do get a lot of financial aid.
Mm.
So you basically go nearly for nothing or for free,
Yeah.
and you already have the smarts for it.
Yeah.
Man, like, lucky college will be a no-brainer at that point.
But some people are exactly that, and they don't go to college. They're low income. They have, let's say in this case, they have they're really good academically.
Yeah.
Let's say they even have a high IQ. Let's just factor that in there, and they don't go to college. Would you say that that's a bad decision or a good decision on their part?
I mean, if it's talking about economically, then
Yeah.
it might be a bad decision depending what it is they're so into. You know, I guess if you like, because some people they have different timelines for their life. Some
Yeah.
people might want to start a family at the age of 20.
Yeah.
You know, if they want to pursue that side, they're like more family oriented. Then that's perfect for you.
Mm.
Yeah, college will have been done because you can't start a family while doing college.
I mean, you could. I know people who are like 30 something in college. They have a family. They have a mortgage.
But that's
to worry
after
about.
the family is
Oh,
already
you're
established,
right,
bro.
you're right.
Like starting
Yeah,
a
yeah.
family.
Starting a family is different.
Yeah, like when that kid's born, all the diapers, all the baby food, the house,
Yeah.
all the this and that. You can't leave the baby alone.
That's why
Like,
babies are so expensive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So starting a family and college don't work out.
Mm.
I know some girls that got pregnant during college.
Mhm.
They're like, now we just take a semester, 2 semesters off, and come back.
They never
Came
came
back. That's how it works.
That's wild.
You just can't.
You think it's because the kid made them their goals? The kid, like, I think the child forces you to change your goals, to realign your goals, to fit the child with it. You know, you
Oh.
can't just be like, I'm going to college because now you have to worry about a kid.
Yeah.
Like, if you can't afford the babysitting, then you have no choice. It's not about you anymore. It's about the kid.
It's about the kid.
Yeah.
Huh. I guess I do have something to say. It's not completely related,
Yeah.
but it's somewhat related.
Mhm.
I think I read this that, and not necessarily that I agree with it or not,
Mm.
but he said that the reason why there's a lot more men in the STEM field can be attributed or somewhat attributed to the fact that women are become more family oriented,
Mm.
right? But men are not really family, like they don't stick to a family as much.
Mm.
So when women have kids and they are in the STEM field, you know, STEM field is really
Yeah.
time consuming, and like you gotta be like on there
Yeah.
paying attention to it.
Work overtime.
Yeah, exactly. When women have kids, most of the times they drop the STEM field
Mm.
and go with that kid, go spend time with that kid, go like work on their families. And I saw that point. I was like,
Yeah.
huh, that's kind of interesting. Like you never really thought about that. And yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of times there's always people at the same time. people find excuses for a lot of things. You know, I think if you're a woman and you want to pursue STEM, I don't think there's many obstacles stopping you.
There's no obstacles for you.
Yeah, but like maybe there's obstacles within the workplace. Maybe that's a different topic though, because like, you know, managers can get carried away, or that's just an example. But if you really look at it, there's nothing stopping you, like what you said. And at the same time, you gotta ask yourself, is this what you want to do? Because usually in the engineering field, you gotta, like, that company wants you to stay there for 5+ years. You know, they're not hiring someone just to work there 6 months. You're no longer in an entry-level job. This is the real deal.
Yeah, once you stay at a job for 5+ years, like, you become essential to that.
Exactly.
And it's not like, oh, I can just quit. It's not like if you work at McDonald's.
Yeah, exactly.
Like when I was working at McDonald's, I just quit and I left. I was like, I'm not coming back.
See it?
Yeah, and people do that all the time. You know, because you're easily replaceable. But once you become like not so replaceable at a higher company, it's harder on you to like quit it because you have that dependency on them, and it's also harder for them to like let you go that easily.
But
until they find a replacement.
Oh, okay.
Once they find a replacement,
they don't
care about you. Yeah.
See it.
But if they don't have a replacement, yeah.
But a lot of time you gotta prioritize what you want to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, I don't care about no company. You know, like even if people who say they're invested into the company, they're not invested into the company. You gotta take like what the company takes from you, you gotta take back. You know, you can't just worry about the company. You gotta put you and the company's needs next to each other. Like, yes, I work for you. Like, I give you my time, you give me money. And I just don't want to give you my time anymore.
Exchange, yeah,
exactly. That exchange is gone.
Yeah,
so like,
you still give me the money. Yeah.
Like, there's no reason to feel guilty of leaving the people there. Like, that's just holding you back.
Yeah, they're just gonna find a replacement.
Exactly.
Like the next
so
day.
what are you gonna do? You're gonna have a collapse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, I guess summarizing, I do think like college is still like really important for some majors. Like, obviously, if you want to become a doctor or nurse, like, I would like the people taking care of me to go to college. You know, to know what the hell they're doing. And also, like, it's required for some fields. I wouldn't say it's really required for, I guess let's go off topic a bit.
Okay.
For STEM fields.
Yeah. Like,
I'm seeing a lot, since I do have some work experience already in my field. I've seen a lot that companies already have their own like academic place or learning system where you can go and you can learn about any topic like within the company, right? You
don't need a degree for it.
Not necessarily a degree. So like, let's say I'm a computer scientist and my main language is C++, and I want to learn about Python.
Okay.
They will have all these courses for me available to learn Python, and I can get certified on. Like, they will give me certifications.
This is within the company, or?
Within the companies,
okay.
So companies have like all these learning systems with courses there for free for the employees. So I think like school might take a change, like in STEM related field, things that you can learn online or you can learn. Yeah, it might take a change to like just they would just hire people that they know are capable of learning, you know, and not necessarily people with a degree, because they can already teach them everything they're going to learn in the workplace. Like we were saying how like college doesn't teach you anything for the workplace.
Yeah.
So they already got to teach you anyways at the workplace what you're going to be doing.
Exactly. So like, what if that's the bigger question? So like, why even get a degree then? Like,
exactly. So yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Not even why get a degree, or why society demands a degree to get a job. Like, why is that?
That's because we're still stuck on like the past. Like like everything. Like you could have only learned like in the before, you could have only learned like C++ at school. They had all the computers, they had all the latest softwares, they had all the courses which were the professors, your classes, you know. You couldn't really find anywhere else. But now you can do this work company is provided for free. You can learn it there. So companies are starting to take, I think they will take a change. So I just starting hiring people without degrees, like Tesla. Like Elon Musk said, anyone with a high school degree can basically apply for Tesla.
Yeah, but Elon's the same guy that's making his employees forcing his employees to work 60-hour work weeks.
Well, that also is the fact that they are a new company and they got like so big so quickly.
Yeah,
so that's why like their workers are like working a bunch of hours. But like I'm saying, like a well-established company like Google also for like Google is a perfect example with their IT certifications.
I think I heard about that.
You can become IT certified with Google, and just with that certification, it's good enough to get a job at Google as IT.
Oh wow!
Yeah, the same job that someone that went to college got gotten, you know.
Yeah.
And
that's how it should be, though.
I guess for it feels like that. Yeah. That you can learn the things already. Companies are just gonna start hiring to teach you for that skill specifically. Because why hire like you? Let's say like a 22-year-old. That learned Calc 2, Calc 1, Physics 1, all the physics, all the calc, when you're not even gonna apply that in my workplace. I'd rather hire like this fresh out of high school kid that seems more motivated, seems like he can learn faster, and seems like he has better like problem solving skills, better teamwork skills. Hire him, teach him all the necessary things for this workplace, and that's it.
You know what I realized was crazy? A lot of times people in the professional field, they hire like the recruiters. They don't hire you based on what you know. They hire you on your personality and how well you fit within the company.
Yeah, how well they can work with you as well.
Yeah, and I think that goes terribly hand in hand with basically not your knowledge, but not your capability, your potential. A lot of times companies don't have I don't want to say intelligent. I want to say what's the word? They don't have the right people for the right job. You know, they just hire some engineers, just like some regular kids out of college to work in a company. But when you're trying to find real talent for a job, I think the people who go out of their way and strive to get the same knowledge as someone who went to college, I would definitely hire that person over someone who went to college.
Exactly.
Because I could go. Maybe they had the reasoning of they didn't have the money to go to college, so they went out of the way to learn regardless. That's something that goes above and beyond anything you could put on your college resume. You know, and I don't know why companies or corporations don't allow you to do that. Like, yes, for IT and I want to see it more. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's because I guess right now, like, a college degree still represents like this person is capable of doing this much, and we don't really have any other system of demonstrating that.
Yeah.
So like if you have a college degree, companies know that you're smart enough to pass your classes. So meaning you're smart enough to understand their systems, how their computers work, how their systems work. You know, like if you go to work at a manufacturing, and you pass your classes, they will know that you're smart enough to understand how the assembly process work, how the machines work, all that stuff. So they know that from your college degree. They also know that you're somewhat capable of managing your time, right? With classes, if you have clubs and activities in your resume, whatever, frats, they'll know that you were able to balance all these things at once. And if you had like a job during college, that also looks good. You balance a work, a job, classes, outside activities, everything into one day. Meaning you're gonna be efficient at time management at work. What else can a college degree tell you? It can tell you that you're able to talk to people. You know, if you have a college degree, you had to interact with people. You had to interact with professors. You had to interact with your peers. And if they see that you were part of clubs in your resume, they know you had to interact with them.
But not necessarily. College degree doesn't really necessarily mean that you know how to talk to people. Because I know people who are about to graduate that don't know how to talk to people.
Yeah, that's why I also mentioned that resume. Like if they say on your resume. But it can also be like a pretty good like in average, like if you have a college degree, you know how to talk to people on average.
Okay, on average.
Like there's obviously those exceptions, you know, and if you don't have a college degree, you can also be great with people, you know. But if you have a college degree, you know how to deal with people because you had to deal with people.
I think college forces you to learn your flaws and strengths. I think that's something that you don't get out of those self-assessment tests that Google offers. You know, a lot of times students realize that maybe I'm not so good at presenting. You know, like why am I so nervous? And then it's something they could improve on. But you wouldn't have realized that if you weren't presenting in front of a big ass class on a professional level. Because now you're with professors. Like in high school, you look at it like teachers, like they've went to college for 2 years, but now they're working with people who are even in the field. Like some of these professors are working in the field. So now it's more pressure on you, right? And some people can disregard that pressure and do it just fine, but other students cannot. And that's something that college that's just one example of what the college can teach you.
Yeah, exactly. And just having a college degree demonstrates those qualities, you know. And I don't think we have a system yet of demonstrating similar qualities like from anywhere else. I guess with the Google's IT certification, obviously if you take that certification, that qualifies you as a good enough person. You were smart enough to finish the course and you were able to complete it within this amount of time, meaning the time management that I brought up, you know. We don't really have any other systems to like grade you based on that. Like you can learn all the coding languages that there are out there. You can be the best computer scientist, but the company won't really know how well you communicate. They won't really know how well you can time manage, you know, because you have taken 10 years to learn this language to perfect it.
That is true.
You know, if you went to college, you had to perfect it within 4 years at a certain level.
Or a semester.
Exactly, or a semester, you see. So all these things. Like just the college degree, like just demonstrates about a person, you know. They know you know how to behave well enough because you didn't get kicked out of college. They know that you'll behave well enough in the workplace as well. You know, like if someone comes here, they can be like the best computer scientist, but I don't know how well that person behaves. I don't know whether they're gonna not show up to work on time, not do this, not do that. You know, basic work ethics. Well, college degree demonstrates that because you were able to do it in school. You finishing is the demonstration that you were able to do it.
A lot of times people are the opposite. So just to play devil's advocate,
Yeah.
a lot of people are the opposite. They go to college, you think they have all these qualities, but once they start working, they don't. They fall apart.
There's always the cases.
Yeah.
But on average, like most people
Okay.
will. There's always the cases, and
Yeah.
you just get fired. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is true.
That's why I think like we're not there yet, where companies can just hire based on just like potential, like you said, and just teach them already in the workplace, because we don't have another system of doing this. In that sense, college will become somewhat obsolete in the future.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's heading towards that direction, though.
Yeah, it will head
regardless.
towards that direction.
Yeah.
Because if you're damn, like, let's say,
Like in the tech field specifically.
yeah, exactly,
You can
like,
teach yourself all of this stuff, like the
like-
coding languages, everything.
yeah, like if you're like, let's say a psychology major.
Okay.
What the hell do you need to take out too?
Exactly.
And physics.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. Even though it does give you a good knowledge around the world, but you're gonna forget about it in 10
Yeah.
years. You're never gonna remember that
Or
stuff.
3.
Yeah,
Even
exactly.
2.
You're gonna forget. Like
Yeah.
even like by the time you're a senior, you forget about all the Calc 2 stuff, all
Exactly.
the Calc 1 stuff, all the physics 1. You just don't remember.
It's just cramming a bunch of
So
knowledge.
why teach you that when, you know?
Exactly.
So eventually in the future, everything's gonna move on to just teaching you what you need for what you're applying for. But then that also raises a problem of you only become specialized on that one thing.
I mean,
Like-
I think if yes, that's true. If you become specialized on only one thing, but I think it'll be shorter to complete it. Like you won't take 4 years to
Exactly.
graduate.
Yeah, exactly. So it has its
It'll
trade-offs.
take
Yeah.
2. So then once you take 2 and you're specialized at this, you don't like it, take 2 again and do this.
Exactly.
You know, I feel like that's a good system that colleges may develop, but that will change that will change society as a whole, because we associate degrees with
Yeah.
2, bachelor's with 4 masters.
Masters, PhDs.
You know, and then now we're just breaking the whole system, the whole construct.
Exactly. You see, because there's already a whole system implemented with this, and also people talk a lot about the trade jobs. Well, I told them, I was like, if I didn't go to college, how about picking a trade job? Like,
Yeah.
man, these plumbers.
Oh, yeah.
Man,
Those plumbers do get paid well.
they do make money.
Or
and then
electricians.
in 2 years, that's
Yeah.
it. They do work harder though. Like I
Mhm.
guess
It's
than an office
physical,
job.
yeah.
Yeah, it's physical. You gotta work out in the heat. Under any conditions, you gotta go out and work. You gotta carry all the equipment. You know, it is.
Yeah.
But they do pay well. And also, you gotta factor in the opportunity cost. I think that's what's called.
Yeah, I think so.
So like, if you finish your trade job in 2 years, meanwhile I finished my college in 4 years, you're already gonna have 2 years work and 2 years of experience. You know, so like let's say a trade job, you start at 60K. In 2 years, you're probably gonna go up to 70K, which is what I would have started with if I went to college.
But you don't have to work harder as a plumber.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you only did 2 years versus the 4 years.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
It's interesting how we measure that based on how many years you studied.
Yeah,
You
right.
know? That should not even be relevant. It should be like you should be able to take the test, and like let's say you should be able to switch majors by taking other tests. Like how do I phrase this? Like you know how Google did with IT. Other colleges should do this with other fields. Maybe not even to other people that are just like not going to college, but maybe the people that are going to college and they want to switch majors and not waste all this money. Maybe
Yeah.
taking those tests can make them realize that yes, this is what I want to do, or no, this is not what I want to do. Because a lot of these times you take these, like from my case, you take these mechanical engineering classes, and they're just like, I do not like construction. Why do they keep teaching me construction? Like this is not relevant for me whatsoever. But they don't care. They teach you anyways.
Yeah, but that's the thing though, because we can't have like a category for it. Like mechanical engineering,
Yeah.
it is a broad ass field, and
Yeah.
it splits up into many branches. They can't have like a track for each course, because then at the end, what they're gonna have is classes with just 4 kids on each. Like you and 3 others that want to do like design, let's say.
Yeah.
Another class with 4 kids that want to do construction. A class with other 4 kids that want to do supply chain. And it's not really cost effective, because who's gonna pay that professor? The 4 kids' salary?
Yeah,
You would just have to pay like 20K a year.
Like just watch a video of the professor
Exactly.
recording.
Yeah.
Just one lecture.
You see, so like, I guess college does have to make everything general for everyone. It has to, in order to be cost effective. You know, I guess it goes back to revolving around money.
Yeah, for sure. Like at the end of the day, colleges need that money to keep going.
For the
you know?
professors.
Yeah.
The professors are not going to work if they don't get paid.
Exactly.
And no one's going to teach you that.
Exactly.
Then everything breaks.
The whole thing falls
You
apart.
see?
It crumbles.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, you go.
No, yeah, because some classes do have tracks,
Yeah.
but once again, the tracks are really general as
Mm.
well, and because they just have to do it that way.
I was gonna
There's
ask
no other
you,
way.
yeah, because you're taking a track. I don't know what track you're taking,
Yeah.
but the track you're in, do you see like there's less kids in your class, or do you
Yeah.
see like it's the same?
Now there's definitely less kids in my class compared to the other track,
Mm.
and I think the reason for that is towards the end, like right before the point we had to choose a track,
Yeah.
people realized how difficult this track could get.
Mm.
But me specifically, I chose the track just because I wanted to do this track instead of the other one.
Mm.
Yeah, but most people chose the other one because of the easiness it had.
Mm. Do you think that limits themselves as a person? Because like you're taking like a shortcut basically.
Not really. That goes back to realizing your
Yeah.
own capabilities.
Mm.
Because if you did trash or
Oh,
like
okay.
the class prior to the track,
Yeah.
why would you go to that track? Like even
But
like
if you like it though.
yeah, if you like it, then that's different. You are gonna struggle, and you
Yeah.
gotta realize that. It's like I like it, but I'm gonna struggle hella hard. I will have to get no sleep, study every day to get this down, and you also gotta realize you might not succeed because you know,
Mm.
you already know that that's not your stronghold, you know. So it's not really like that limiting their potential.
Yeah.
Most of them realize that I will do better in this track.
So what would
know?
you say to someone that wants to do this track? They're really bad at all the classes before, but they're so determined that they want to, like, they think that they could do better.
Sometimes determination is not everything. You can be the most determined person in the world. You can spend every single minute
Yeah.
of your life studying,
Yeah.
and you might not get it down.
Like
And then
what-
at the end, you end up failing.
What if they asked if you could be their tutor? Would you tutor them? If they showed no progress, but they're motivated, they're determined, they do the work. They're just not good. They're just not learning it.
Yeah.
They just don't. It doesn't
I mean,
click.
yeah, I'll tutor people like that before.
Okay.
And then they come back like failing grades. I'm like, I taught you this. Like I help people, and I
Yeah.
taught them. When they're with me, they know everything. They do everything right.
Mm.
Then they come back from the test and they're like, I did this because I thought this, and I'm like, that's not what what we learned together. You know?
You think it's because people collapse during exams? 'Cause,
Yeah,
like,
there's also that thing.
yeah, I had the same example applies to me. I forgot one math class, I think Calc 2, or not Calc 2, the final for differential equations,
Yeah.
DiffEq. That class was no joke. At the
Yes,
end of the
sir.
final, they put everything on the third exam, the one I didn't do so well on. So I turned the first page for the exam.
And
I didn't know anything. I was
Damn.
so like, I looked around the room. I was like, is that, because people, because like, you know when someone doesn't know what they're doing, they look around the room. So
Yeah.
I started looking around the room, and no one else was looking around the room. I
So
was like,
you were the
damn,
only
I'm
one.
the only one that doesn't know this stuff. And I felt kind of like, you know, I forgot like a lot of easy, dumb stuff that I remembered after the exam. But it was just that pressure of not knowing what the first problem is
Yeah.
that just ruins it for the
That
rest
happens,
of the exam.
yeah. And people gotta realize that sometimes they're not good test takers. Like they
Yeah.
can know everything,
Mhm.
and just not good test takers.
Yeah,
You gotta
exactly.
realize that, adjust accordingly. You know.
Mhm.
But yeah, but you can't really blame the professor. Like,
Yep. No.
hey man, yeah, because
Yeah.
you know the professor has to be general. They gotta fit the general criteria for like
Exactly.
the average student.
Like you had the opportunity to ask questions in class. You know, you have the
Yeah,
chance to
that's
study
true,
at
yeah.
home.
And
To
the-
study. Yeah.
And the professor can really tailor the
Mhm.
test to you for your. I guess that, like if you have physical needs or
Yeah.
mental needs,
Yeah. Exactly.
that's different. They do tailor to
Mhm,
you.
for sure.
But if you use like an average student that don't like how the question was worded because
Mhm.
you got confused, that's on you, man. Like professor can't really like word it exactly how you want it.
Yeah.
You know, they gotta word it for the average student to understand.
Yeah, but at the same time, sometimes they word it so you fail on purpose.
That's true.
'Cause
Yeah.
They can't have the average be 100.
Yeah.
You gotta make
So,
it difficult.
I guess since in school mostly they tailor
Yeah.
everything for the average student.
Mhm.
Do you think that makes every student an average student? Like or an average.
I think
Just
that
average.
I think that it doesn't make you an average student, but it definitely your work ethic. It definitely
Yeah.
ruins your work ethic if you're completing this work in 2 seconds
Exactly.
compared to someone who's studying for 3 hours. You know,
Mm.
that definitely ruins your work ethic because now you're thinking that everything's so easy, and you go to college and just
But those are the extreme cases with like the really like smart people
Yeah.
versus like the not so smart or not so like academically gifted
Mm.
people. But then what about the people in the middle? Like because the tests are made,
Yeah.
professors don't make the test too hard or too easy. They make them average on the middle for those middle people. Do you think those middle people are just since everything was, I guess, tailored to them,
yeah.
makes them just average and they go on about their life just yeah, I'm not doing like extremely good, but I'm also not doing bad. So I'm doing fine. Let's just keep going like this.
I think that the people who are doing fine are the same people that just doing that are studying just not too much, not too little.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know,
like average. Yeah.
the grade they get reflects on how well they studied. You know, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how smart you are. If you studied harder, you'll get better grade than someone who's naturally gifted.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just about how smart you are. It's about how much time you put into it. And if you put no time into it, how can you expect results? It's those same students like, this test was so hard. It's like, how much hours you study? It's like, oh, I didn't study. It's like, why are you complaining? You didn't study. Like, you can't blame anyone but yourself for some of these things.
Exactly. You know? But I'm guessing I guess let's look back at it when we're first kids.
Okay.
Like, let's say your first test, like shapes or whatever, I don't know.
Shapes.
You spend like all afternoon with your
Yeah.
mom drawing shapes, doing all this, and then you get 100. You were like, that test was super easy.
Yeah.
Then the next time you're gonna study a little bit less because you know it's super easy.
Yeah.
Right. And then eventually over time, you'll fall into that category where you don't study too little, or too much, but just right enough to get
A passing grade.
a good score. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, does it? You think that leads to the outcome of you just becoming average, just
Not really.
being
because,
in the middle?
Because even I think it's how fast you complete the work and how well you do the work. Because then you can easily measure a kid's success.
Yeah.
Because they even have the gifted and talented program within schools.
Yeah.
I don't know how they grade you on that or how they implement those kids to put in those programs, but they know. I don't know how they know, but they know like which kids can be suited to take harder classes and which kids should not.
I think that's hella cap.
You think that's cap?
Gifted and talented programs?
Yeah.
My siblings are on it.
Yeah.
All their friends. Dumb. Like, they lack common sense. And I'm like, what's going on? I,
it
thought all
doesn't
these
make
kids
they're dumb,
were
though. Sometimes
gifted
the
and
smartest
talented.
kids have no common sense.
I know, but I also met at high school. I
Yeah.
didn't go to a gifted and talented school. But
Yeah.
at high school, there was this group of obnoxious kids filled with ego because they went to this gifted and talented school. And I'm like, why'd they act like that? Like, they're not really that smart. Like, I'm able to solve complex problems, not necessarily like solve equations, but like understand the topic and solve more complex problems better than them. Why do they act like this and always like boss around like, I went to a gifted and talented school, this and that. Like, basically I'm better than you. And then when my siblings started going to the school, I realized why. They feed it into them.
Really?
Every day you're in a gifted and talented school, you're better than everyone else. Because my brother would come home from school every day and tell me, I'm already taking, like, if he was in 5th grade, he'll be like, I'm already taking 6th grade level math, when everyone else is still taking 5th grade level math. And then they feed it into them that they're so special and so talented and so gifted that at the end they're low-key just average compared to the actual gifted and talented that came from other schools.
Because my example was not gifted and talented schools, but programs within the same school.
Okay.
Like the school I went to, I remember we had to take a test on how fast we could read and write, and then also take a math exam, and that's how they would qualify whether or not you could be able to enter
In the
gifted.
program.
Yeah. The
But
program.
then gifted and talented schools do give you a test. Like, my siblings had to take a test, like, before going in, and all the kids there had to take a test. But the thing is, they took the test when they were after, like, 1st grade, when they were in 1st grade, and then they developed to become not so gifted and talented by the time they're in 8th grade. Because they've been told so many times, you're gifted and talented, you're taking 7th grade level math when you're in 6th grade. And then when that time they're 8th grade, they look at just average. And they come out of there, they go to high school, and then...
You think that stunts their growth then?
Huh?
You think that stunts their growth as like a person? They're just feeding it
exactly.
into
Yeah,
they're smarter?
that was what I was getting at.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I think
Yeah.
so. I think that if you keep on just saying like you're special, like eventually it's gonna crumble. Like that
Yeah.
idea, that misconception that you're better than everyone else, that superiority, complex is gonna collapse on itself.
Because even though when we graduated high school,
Yeah.
the people that went to gifted and talented school, they did place, I guess, like, better than the average. But then they didn't place like the top performers. The top performers were people that didn't come from gifted and talented schools. That were never told you're gifted and talented.
I think it's going back to what you said earlier about the stars.
Yeah.
Like once you don't have that stars, you need something to compare yourself to the best of the best. So you just say, look, I'm gifted and talented. That's me. You know?
Because I met a lot of kids like that. They were like, I was doing so good, like, in this, now I'm doing bad. I'm like, because you were told you were doing good, like, you were spoon-fed. You're doing good. You're doing good. You're doing good. Well, I guess something related to a question I have for you.
Yeah.
Would you have rather be the top performer at a not so good school than being a average performer at a good school. Let's put it that way. Because I know a lot of kids debate
Yeah.
or have that conflict, like when choosing college.
Or parents too.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, should I really go to like MIT? Well, not MIT. MIT is like top there. Like,
Yeah, that's crazy.
well, like let's say like, like the school that does competition with us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, would I go there or go here where we are at right now? Because that other school is better, right? But then in there you have bigger competition. You probably won't be top performers because most of the top performers go there, right? Or you will go here where you can be a top performer. What will look better? What do you think will look better?
I think what will look better is not the best school.
Not the best school being top performing, not the best school.
Yeah.
And do you think that top performer in that not so good school can compete against the average student on the top school?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah. I think it depends on a lot of things. Like maybe I want to lean towards yes though.
Yeah.
You know, definitely, because
Yeah.
a lot of times these schools, like the best of the best schools, don't just look at your grades. Like sometimes you could be an athlete or something else. You know, let's look at the cases, and yeah, I just don't think that. Like I think that's better to rise, as well as like looking at an economic standpoint. I don't think it's worth going to a more expensive school just to say that you went to a prestigious school. I think it's a waste of money, and it just feeds into your ego. Like I went to this school. What school did you go to? You know,
Yeah.
and then you start comparing from there because people always compare. Like we were just talking about earlier, they always compare. And besides money, they compare status. You know, they're like, oh, I'm better than you because I went to Harvard. I'm better than you because I went to NYU. But really, you're the same person.
You know, I realized that on people that went to like really prestigious schools,
Mhm.
but didn't end up in really prestigious places. So like that happened in like let's say teachers.
Okay.
Like teaching is not considered like a really prestigious job. It should be though, because they're the foundation of everything.
Yeah.
But it's really not. So like I have teachers throughout middle school and high school
Mhm.
where they went to like UPenn, like Ivy League schools,
Mhm.
Columbia,
Oh yeah. I have
Stanford,
that too.
and then they always brag about it. They will have the school stickers showing everywhere.
Mhm.
They will always say, "Yeah, I went to Columbia. I went to Stanford. I went to this and that."
Mhm.
But it's like now that I grown up, I'm like, "Yeah, you went there, but you didn't really end up in a really prestigious
Mm.
place, And you ended up just a middle school teacher on the ghetto because I'm from the ghetto."
Yeah.
And it's like, come on, man. Like, why you bragging so much when
Yeah.
Because I guess to us kids, just the fact that they went to an Ivy League school is like an amazing thing,
Yeah, for sure.
So like, why do you think that happens? It usually happens when that like
Yeah, for sure.
because when people that went to prestigious schools end up in prestigious places, they don't really brag about it.
I think it's because it's really hard to get into. So I think at the same time, because
So
it's
you
so
just-
difficult to get
The
into,
accomplishment that they were there,
Yeah.
it's
it's like they attach themselves to that title.
yeah. So it's like you're really bragging about the school, when in reality, like you just like that person that went to the school right here, the
Mhm.
local school, and y'all getting paid the same thing.
That's
It's
crazy.
like, are you really in the position to brag?
Yeah, I don't think people should ever
Yeah.
brag.
That happened with my high school counselor. It's my fault.
No, good.
That one went all the way to like Virginia, I think, to like a really good school. Hundreds of $1,000s in that.
Jesus,
And then the other one just went to the local school right there, like 10 minutes away, and just had to get a degree. And they both ended. And I noticed that right there. I'm like, holy in the same place, working the same job and getting paid the same.
That's wild.
Yeah, and I'm like, it happens though.
Yeah,
It happens.
It doesn't really matter what college you go to.
Yeah.
I think it's how you make of it.
Exactly,
A lot of
yeah.
times people call into college like, yeah, my college was trash. Like, did you talk to anyone? Did you join any clubs? It's like,
Yeah.
no. But I should have gone to Stanford. It would have been better.
would've
But
been
the
better.
same kid went to Stanford. It would have been the same thing.
Same thing, yeah.
Not talk to no one, no clubs.
It's what you make out of college. bro.
Exactly.
Yeah, like that person we know that got a job at Apple.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Google, yeah. You see, our school is not so good, but I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
I
compared
think
to like a kid that went to MIT, didn't put in that much work,
Mm.
can get a job at those places.
But it's also, and it's when you go to college life and you look at the crazy aspect of these prestigious schools all the time, like MIT, you see that a lot of these kids are suicidal.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
another topic.
Because it's just too much pressure.
There's just so much pressure.
Yeah.
It's like there's no reason to have these classes this difficult if you're gonna work the same job.
Exactly.
You know?
If you're gonna end up in the same place.
There's no reason for you to get, grow older faster,
Mhm.
get all this weight here because you're so stressed all the time. You're always
Just end
moving.
up working the same place as
Yeah.
someone that went to this school.
Yeah, exactly.
Or someone that went to community college. That's even worse, bro.
Oh my god.
When I was working on the field, like it was the team of engineers, and they were like, yeah, it was like 7 of them.
Mm.
Out of all of us, only one person like got their actual engineer degree, The other ones went for trade jobs and like worked their way up into
Oh, wow.
engineering. And I'm like, that's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like that person probably he hella debt.
Jesus,
and is
man.
still getting paid the same and working on the same place.
It's wild.
This guy that went to a trade. So you do. It goes back to like playing your cards right.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times people, it's like there's no reason for college life to be that stressful. You know,
Yeah.
don't make it that stressful. That's some advice. Like if the advice, like what advice would you give to your younger self that was starting college?
What advice would I give to a younger self?
Yeah, freshman JC.
Freshman JC.
Yeah.
Damn. Low-key, I don't know what to give myself because
Yeah.
at least with me, even before I started college,
Mm.
I had this plan, and low-key the plan has been going
Exactly how.
exactly how I planned it.
Mm.
Yeah, like everything that has happened to me, like I expected it. I saw it coming because I knew my strengths and I knew my weaknesses, and I planned according to that.
Mm.
Like it's not like I don't want to brag, but I knew like I'm academically like good.
Mm.
I knew I was by the level of like hardness of the school. I knew I was going to be able to like master the classes. And then I knew I had some weaknesses, and I had to work on that along the way, and I did, and like everything came out to plan.
Mm.
Low-key, like right out of the top of my head, there's not something, because I guess when you give advice,
Yeah.
it's because something like you regret it,
Mm.
or that you wish you have done different, and then that's the
Yeah.
advice you give. I wish, or like I would have told them not like to do this instead of that,
Mm.
but I don't.
Because like when I say advice, like when I think about advice, especially to myself, I would think about it like if you, depending on what advice, because advice is only advice if it's relevant.
useful,
Yeah.
yeah.
If besides that, it's just like you're just saying words.
Exactly.
You know? So I think advice to someone like, let's say myself, if I gave advice to my younger self, especially freshman Steven, it'd be advice that would like stop that period, that point in my life where I would stress about exams, because I would basically skip that step of stressing about exams and move on to more. So I would be able to accomplish more because I wouldn't have already realized that.
You see, but yeah, that's exactly what I said. You gave that advice,
Yeah.
because you.
But I didn't
technically-
regret it though.
Not regretting, but you wish you wouldn't have spent so much time stressing on attempts.
Okay.
You wish you have done things differently.
I wouldn't have done things differently though.
But that's what the advice you're giving yourself to
I would
is.
give my advice to not do that thing at all. So then I would have opportunity to do more things. If-
Exactly. So do things differently. Not stress so much about attempts.
But I would still do the same things. Like I would still
Still
study
stress?
the same amount, but I just wouldn't. I guess you could say I wouldn't stress. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
a
you
good
see,
point.
yeah, that's what that. So
Well,
I guess.
yeah.
No, go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna say, but I would do everything the same though. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, I could give advice, but that's we're both assuming that I'm gonna follow that advice. You
Oh,
know?
okay. Well, if you are, it's
Yeah.
meant to like be followed, I guess.
Yeah, but like, if I probably wouldn't even listen to my older self advice at freshman year, I'd be
Your
like,
freshman year.
I got this, easy. And then first exam hit, it's like, hold on, it's not so easy.
Yeah. But with me, yeah, like I knew my strengths, and
Yeah.
okay, like I would have to think about it, because if I would give myself advice, it would be like to change something. And okay, I'm perfectly happy and good as
Yeah.
I am now.
Same.
Yeah.
I feel like at the same time it's good to it's good to think of advice, but at the same time, like if it didn't happen the way it did,
Yeah,
maybe
you
I wouldn't
wouldn't
be
be-
in the seat right now.
exactly,
You
yeah.
know, I'd be with another kid across from me, Kevin.
Yo, that's Kevin.
You know, like you never know how life works.
Exactly.
So at the same, like you gotta realize that everything happened as it should be. You know,
Yeah.
but at the same time, you could make things happen on your own.
Yeah.
You know,
You
like,
do like up to a certain point, like you do have control.
Exactly.
of where you end up
Mhm.
in the future, you know. Like, yeah, it's just how it is.
Mhm.
You gotta work towards it.
Do you think it's true that people know what they want to do at a younger age already? People say that subconsciously you already know what you want to do in life, but like by high school, but you just don't know the answer. Like consciously, but subconsciously you're making the acts to follow that career. You
To
just
follow.
don't know it.
And then so like you're like every day to day,
Yeah.
every day to day task like become accustomed to that task without you knowing.
Exactly. So
With
like
that
once
goal.
that's how you know, like you really know, like that's how, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. I think everyone knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
When you find a job and you really like what you're doing,
Uh-huh.
you realize that you started having that interest beforehand.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, and that you were working towards it the whole time. You just didn't realize it. That's kind of crazy. That's kind of wild to think
Mhm.
about.
It is kind of wild, yeah. I guess a personal example with me, like when I was in high school,
Mm-hmm.
I was just doing my research in college, and I'm like, what are these colleges that are offering like co-op programs? There's some colleges out there that you do like your regular semesters,
Yeah.
but then like there comes the summer semester in your sophomore year,
Yeah.
where they help you find a job. They basically find a job for
Oh,
you,
wow.
and you work, yeah, and then they interchange. Then it comes the fall semester where you work, and then you study the summer semester. You know, it's like required for the school.
Oh, wow.
And that's what I wanted to get into. I'm like, co-ops, what is that? What are internships? What's this? What's that? And then I planned before college. That was my goal, to like basically follow a path. Even if I didn't get into a college with a program like that, basically work towards getting internships and getting co-ops or whatever. And then realizing now, yeah, like every step I did was set up for this.
Yeah.
Like as a freshman, I went to the career fair,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone was like, "Nah, you're a freshman. We're not giving you anything." And then at the moment, I was like, I expected. I was like, "Yeah, I'm a freshman."
Yeah.
Well, I knew that I had to be there because next year, I will have known what to do I would
Differently.
know-
Yeah, exactly.
And everything I did in college was technically for this.
That's wild.
Yeah.
It's crazy how life works sometimes, man.
It is, man,
Especially
yeah.
college life. Like college is definitely that time in your life where you're growing to be an adult. You know, you gotta take it seriously.
Yeah,
But,
college.
like,
Yeah,
not too seriously.
not too seriously.
Not too seriously.
There is some people that. Oh yeah, I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
The people that, because we hear all the time, people
Mhm.
that graduate with 4.0s, they get all their time to school,
Mhm.
ignore their social life, and
Mhm.
basically every other aspect of their life, and then
Yeah.
they regret it, and they open about it. They regret it,
Mm.
doing that to themselves, you know.
Yeah.
And we hear all the time. We see it. I remember there was this graduation speech that went viral.
Mhm.
So we see it. We see people telling you, don't do that. Don't put all your time into it. So what do you think kids don't do it? They put all their time into it. Could it be like related to what we said?
It definitely
How
could
it
be
gives them
related
that
to what I
status.
said, yeah. But in that specific example, I think that students still do that because maybe it's a good question. Because like off the top of my head, I can't really think of anything right now.
Yeah,
But
because they've been told like
yeah,
that 4.0 GPA won't matter at the end. They've been told it, but then they're still pursuing that goal. Could it be that they're just too hardwired into that the 4.0
Yeah.
GPA would give them?
it could be that.
Yeah.
Very well could be that. Because I even know people that are very hardwired on because cultures are different, right?
Yeah.
Parents teach their kids different things based on the culture. And for one example, I know this Asian guy who's 22, and I think you met him too. And he was telling me like his life goal is to make money and then move his parents somewhere, some other country, right? And I asked him like, why don't you take a break and relax, you know, like have fun from time to time.
Yeah.
And he associated fun with just partying. He's like, I don't want to just be drunk all the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, that doesn't mean that's not
Yeah,
all that's
yeah.
fun, you know, like. And then he's very like focused, like he can't break that custom of like doing fun things because what he was taught was to just keep working like for 30
And then you
years
can have the fun later.
and then you could have the fun
Yeah.
later, but then it just leads to regret.
Mhm.
But it is what it is.
Yeah, and also I guess you can relate it to like old people.
Mm-hmm.
When they on their deathbed, they say the things they regret, and people know this stuff. It's like not traveling, you know, or like dedicating too much time to the job and not the family. And growing up, you know these things. You know that this what old people regret. But then I think another thing that contributes to this is the fact that people think they're immune. They're like, nah, that won't happen to me. I don't really like traveling. Or I can travel later. You know, they think it just doesn't apply to them. They think that like that there will always be a tomorrow where they can save that
Yeah.
time for. It's like, yeah, I can just spend time with my kids later, and then the kids grow up and go to college, and you never see them again.
Yeah, and time flies like this.
You only see them on Thanksgiving, you see, and then they realize they're like, oh shit, I ran out. They think they're immune, and then it comes to the old age, and then they're like, please.
And they get regrets. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they regrets, and they give the advice to the younger generation, but then they feel like they're immune. That doesn't apply to them. Like they were old, they were dumb. Then boom, same thing applies.
I think you just gotta be humbled. You know, you gotta learn that everything can apply to anyone. Obviously, everyone doesn't go through the same stuff, so you might not have the same regrets. But you should still listen to the regrets and take it with a grain of salt and apply it to yourself.
Yeah.
Like, is this something that I like looking down the road? Is this something that I would regret if I didn't spend time with my parents now? Like, that's an example. Like, if I didn't spend, like, on the flip side, from the kid's perspective, looking from, like, the parents, looking up to the parents, you could say maybe spend more time with your family because, you know, you're taking them for granted right now. You know, a lot of people don't think like that, and think it also goes back to culture. You know, my culture, I think yours too, very family oriented.
Yeah.
Some cultures are not. You know, siblings fight, really fight. They don't. They hold that grudge, and it's just terrible, very toxic. But especially for parents, and not as involved with their kids, and I think that's crucial for like kid like to grow up, like a development, to be a part of their life. You know, and the fact that people just take that for granted is crazy. You know, regrets is something that people, I think at the same time you should always like reevaluate what you're gonna say, or not say but do. You know, like, is this something that I would regret? Like, I think that's a perfect question to ask yourself for any big decision.
Exactly. That's a good point. And then it makes you think about the present and how it might affect you in the future.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, that happened to me with, like, a person, like, when I was with that person, like, everything used to be fine or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, boom, that person was no longer there, and I was, I started regretting, like, basically, like, letting that person go, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and, like, it happens all the time with not just people, with other things. You just gotta appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, but I feel like regrets also teach you a lesson, especially at a young age.
Yeah,
I don't consider regrets at a young age regrets. It's kind of like lessons, you know?
Yeah.
Those lessons are meant for you to keep in mind when you get older so you don't make the same mistake.
Yeah. That's why...
Yeah, go ahead.
That's why you gotta expose kids to, like, basically dangers. You can't keep your like kids safeguarded all the time.
Like shelter, like those kids, that's parents that homeschool their kids, they don't let them leave the house because something might happen.
Exactly. You can't do that because that will never teach them, and you won't always be there for them.
Exactly.
You know, like let's say like someone hits your kid in school. What would you tell your kid if someone hits him? Like, he comes home crying because he didn't do anything. Like, he didn't know what to do, so he didn't do anything. That's crucial because what you tell him is what he's gonna do every time someone hits him.
I would definitely tell him if he hits you first, hit him back.
Hit him back, yeah. That's what I would tell my kid too.
I'm like, you're not taking nothing from no one.
If I told him, like, don't hit him back, just go and report it to the principals. That kid would just keep hitting him. Exactly. And he would just keep taking the hits and going back to a principal.
But I think it's also good to tell your kid why they should hit him back.
Yeah.
I would probably tell him, listen, if this happens again and you don't hit him back, this is going to keep on happening because he's going to take advantage of you.
Yeah.
But once you hit him back, he'll be like, because bullies aren't really, like, because bullies are the people who are also hurting themselves.
Yeah.
Like, they probably have a trash family, so they take it out, they project it in school to, like, weaker kids because they're bigger. And I would give the advice to my kid that you should hit them back because, you know, they'll take advantage of you.
Yeah.
And that's something you see at every level in life, not just as a kid. So I think it's a good lesson to start when you're younger, so you don't get taken advantage of when you're older.
Yeah, so you see things like that. All right, bro, but yeah, I guess let's wrap it up.
That's a wrap?
Yeah, it's been a good talk.
Let's go.
Yeah, it's been a good talk,
First
bro.
episode.
Yes, sir.
Follow us on our Instagram, glimpse_infinity.
Yeah, thank you guys for staying up. If you stayed up until the end.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Nice to have you. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
See you on the next one.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
for sure.
All right.
All right.
What's up, everyone? JC here. If you liked today's episode, make sure to drop the thumbs up down below, alongside any questions or ideas of your own regarding the topic in the comments. Also, to get our latest updates and highlights, please add us to your social medias, and to become a direct supporter of our channel, consider becoming a patron, which not only grants you exclusive perks, but also a chance to be our next guest. Thank you.